Yo.
Give me a second. I got to do the shills and shit. Fuck. Damn it! Look at me. Let it breathe, baby. Guys, it's your boy Jim Rat Crypto. This is Crypto in the Morning live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. I just got out of a Twitter space with a lot of people in it, and I just gave David G the elbow to the face because, well, no, I didn't. He's a nice guy. But I was in the Twitter spaces fighting for the belief that I have that NFT, everyone that tries to talk positively about NFTs, they're always correct, but they're correct while 99% of the people in them get wrecked. And that's what I don't like. And that's what I was trying to tell David. It's like, yes, David, there are 3 artists that actually care about the people in the world, but they're just selling it to celebrities with big boobs. And then they sell it on everyone. And then they get all arrested for whatever, all the implications of all that stuff. It's just a wreck fest. And guys are hoping they can milk money off of it. As far as just the picture thing, like when it's just like the picture situation. When there's utility, it's obviously a different story. It's a stupid conversation. Otherwise, guys, we're talking about Richard Hart, Fresh and Fit. Sam, Richard Hart was on the biggest podcast in the United States for male improvement last night, and he was dropping absolute bombs. He literally explained HEX word for word to everyone very slowly. Very, very slowly. And he explained what the government does with your money very, very slowly. And and you know what I mean when I say that, like there was no trigger words, word salad, none of that. He said, they put your money in a box. They get 10x leverage off money in box. They don't ever lend your money out, Sam. They take leverage on that. And it's just they're taking leverage to gain on inflation. That's the whole game. And they're trying to game their own game within the middle of the game. So nobody knows. You know what I mean, Sam? It's almost like they created inflation, but now because it exists, they need to take your money and 10x it just to get a reward. They can't even get a reward without double backing on their own situation. I was thinking about my money and the banks and the whole system last night. I was like, holy shit, is it really happening now? Is this happening now? Like, dude, like this is happening now. Like literally, like there's people in the government right now that are trying to, just like me and Sam are seeing, how can we get these moonbags? How can we play this? What are they going to legislate? What are they going to do? We're trying to play this whole thing. They're on the other side. What are these nerds doing? How hard are these nerds willing to go? Are there really guys that'll educate people about this every day for the rest of their life for free? Yeah, there are. Every single day I do this because value, they loaded the premium up on this side for value. And they made me working have zero value. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? Teach everyone all the shit that I learned. And I bet that has more value than what I was creating before, whether or not it has a financial incentive off the front end. I knew this already because nobody was getting educated. Everyone had questions. No one knew where to go. I wanted to know about fitness. I couldn't find the real answers. I had to find someone like Sam that I could pay for some time so I could really dig into this stuff. Otherwise, I'd be just give up on the project I was doing, which was my fitness at the time. I would have had to give up because I was given the wrong answers. I was told the wrong things early on. And if I stuck with the first things I learned, this is an ever evolving system. And the same 5% of people that win this game would win the next game. And I need you guys to start understanding that. Sam, if there was no digital currency, if there was no bodybuilding, Sam would win that other game too. He just would have less choices on what he could do because those things didn't exist. So he would just go to the next best thing. We're trying to find the biggest, highest value thing in our lives and grasp it with both our hands and learn it. And that's what's going on here in real time while the governments are arresting people for writing code. You know, it's crazy. What, do I have some? So guys, let's get into this. It's your boy GRC, CITM. I was just all over the Twitter spaces dropping knowledge. It was amazing. I enjoyed it. Crazy morning so far. I slept for like 11 hours, so who knows? Crypto in the morning.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm ready to tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Play me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning. 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 Crypto in the morning.
Yo, what's good, bro? How you doing? I am doing fantastic today. Good to see you. I heard you in the spaces this morning, and I checked.
That was random, by the way. David was just in there. Funding Jim was in there. I thought they'd give me a shot at the. If you guys ever for next time, I'm pretty sure I cursed the host out too. So like, don't trust me. If you want to invite me on your show and trust me for the things that I have never been liable for a thing I've ever said in my entire life. So I will remain that way. So be careful. I forget about that sometimes. I'm a loose cannon.
We have a lot to talk about with the ICOSA and the HDRN and the HEX with what's going on. That interplay is fascinating between those because you have all
kills me. It's so fun. It's so fun.
Oh, it is, and so many people don't rest it.
I did not know I'd be able to do this fun stuff.
And we're so ahead of everybody else because so many people don't understand what is going on with the interplay between the three of those, right? We have HEX. Most people understand HEX to a certain degree, right? You have trustless yield that you can just earn on HEX. Secure, right? There's a big community around it. You need a community because you have to drive adoption. Adoption is number one. Off of that, we've got HDRN, right? HDRN, most people had sold off over the past 7 or 8 months since it launched. That drove down the price. It allowed
and then little bags, not enough to change the price, but all those guys with under $1,000, under $10,000 got their position set. Didn't change the price, but it changes a lot in the future.
The redistribution of the HDRN bags. Oh, yes.
And Alex literally played that like a little bear market fiddle.
What is that? A violin? Is that what it's called?
I don't know. It's the fiddle, I think. Like
fiddle. There you go.
Yeah, like the devil with the fiddle or whatever. But think about it. And then he came on crypto in the like. I'm proud of this, to be honest. Like, yeah, I don't know if other people like this is the way I feel about Alex and everything. The day that ICOSA launched, he was on this show. Alex, the founder of HDRN. And
where did he go? Did he go somewhere else?
He went to crypto in the morning, baby. Come on. And but I said this whole last couple of weeks, and my voice isn't that loud because I don't deserve to have that loud of a voice, but I was being real detailed. I said, guys like Alex, I know guys like Alex. I know them in real life. They don't miss things that every pleb screams over the hilltops. I'm not that stupid. I don't buy it. This is classic. And everyone was saying, all the sell pressure forever. You just don't know what it's like to be a whale. So you're just not used to thinking about it like that, I guess, or a bigger player. And if you just know people, game theory, these guys study game theory. Understand that when you're just clapping your lips. Like imagine if someone was like, Sam, go study game theory for a year, come back. And you're just like, oh, I missed the sell pressure thing. They 10x their bags. They sold it all. It's like, no, you're not going to forget that. You're going to know that. It's clear. What do you think about that point? Like people really, really smart people saying like there's sell pressure forever. It can't happen.
Think about that though. There's people like you were just mentioning, there's whales, right? There's like 90 trillion HDRN at total supply, including the like printing of new ones, I believe. So when you think about this, there's people with 500 million of these tokens that just dumped them on the market. They will never be able to get back that. Not 500 million. I'm sorry. I meant to say like 50 billion or 500 billion.
It doesn't matter the amount. It just matters that they exist and they were that portion of the pie, and they'll never get that portion back. They'll never get that rate of the pie that they had back, which Sam, from that can hurt once you know the numbers.
And when I see these, I see HDRN, and I see HEX, and I see ICOSA. This basically puts pressure on HDRN, in my opinion, right? So let's think about this. You have HEX, which has already a lot of adoption relative to HDRN and ICOSA, right? HEX has like what is that, 150, 180,000 wallets that or addresses that own HEX or have staked HEX, right? Well, when you look at HDRN, as GRC was just mentioning, there's a boatload of people who just sold theirs off. Now you look at ICOSA, and the reason there's not as much room for ICOSA is because there's an ARB on that. ICOSA, which I talked about the other day, could be kind of like the perfect stable coin, so to speak, right? Where you have a lower bound and an upper bound. It's still going to be volatile, but when you think about what a stable coin is, currently it's tied to dead carcass, the USD, right? Like, and it just doesn't make sense to tie a stable coin to something that is dying, like a fiat currency.
No, the dying thing is the thing that doesn't make sense. Like, it's just
It's
like,
dead.
no, we have to like admit this, because this is where the crypto part comes in. This is like where the cypherpunk comes in. It's like, the truth is the dollar should not exist anymore. And it's just, we are right now in the midst of figuring out how it's going to play out, and nobody knows. And we're basically guessing. We're doing our best to guess what the flips is going to happen.
But we know. But here's the thing, cool thing. So I have this vision, and I've shared it before. I don't think stable coins in the current iteration are going to be around like this, where you have something that is tied to the euro, tied to the dollar, etc., etc. Because of what you're saying, that's just dead. We already know it's dead. We know the future. When you know the future, that creates opportunity. So why would you tie a stable coin to something that is dead? Doesn't make any sense.
It's the only thing that's allowed.
When you look at ICOSA,
it's the only thing that's allowed as of now, because there hasn't been innovation on a strong enough platform. But then ICOSA comes in,
and you have an upper and lower rim, right? So let's talk
because
about
of
that.
why. Tell them why there is, because people will say, "Nah, it'll go to zero." Right? That's what you would. Why? What are you talking about, Sam? Oh, it's an S coin. Tell them why it has some of those features that can hold value up in a like a more nuanced way.
So when you look at ICOSA, it's got a floor and a ceiling. And when you think of like a stable coin, you're like, what is the purpose? What is the essence? If you were to take maple syrup, you have 5 gallons of maple syrup, you distill it down, you cook that basically, and it goes from 5 gallons of maple syrup down to 1 gallon of maple syrup, something like that. So you're getting down to the basics, the essence of what something is. So when you do that for a stable coin, you ideally have something that is not very volatile, because people, right, they have this psychology and they just want to see a stable number every day in their account. So they want to see $10,000, $100,000 in their account. Now, when you look at ICOSA, because there's a floor and a ceiling on there, it creates reduced volatility, which is the essence of what a stable coin is. So you can, the floor, what is that? Well, that is, there is so much value locked in the ICOSA contract. So if I did this example the other day, if I have this little bag here and I've got 100 grand in this bag, everybody's able to see how much money is in this bag. And I put this bag up for auction. How much do you think this bag's going to sell for? Probably about 100 grand, right? You can verify it's real. You can count it, right? You can do all that beforehand. So you know there's $100,000 in here. So how much is it going to sell for? About $100,000. And that is the floor, because the ICOSA contract holds the value of the advances from the HDRN there. And then on the upside, so the ceiling side of things, you have, and then there's also like the ICOSA, you can stake that, whatever, right? But on the upside, how does it have an upside? Well, or you block off, you sell off the upside effectively. Well, that's because of the arbitrage. If you take an HSI that's $1,000.
Hey, we got to transition him on because he's got to be out in 10 minutes. He has something.
Perfect. Let's do it up and we'll finish it. I just texted you. What's up, Sloth?
How's it going, guys? Heard you talking LP. You got some questions.
Let's get down to business real quick, okay, Sloth?
Mm-hmm.
We saw the yield percentages. We're excited, everything like that. But let's get down to what's important right now, Sam. People want to know Sam's talking about the floor. What do you think the most important thing while he's here to cover? What do you think the most important thing is Crypto Sloth? You've had the day to digest. You're looking at some of these things. There's some negative price action for sure. What's going on through your mind right now?
Right now, not all too much. I'm just chilling, seeing the ICOSA point right around its intrinsic value makes me excited. Seeing the yield, and I'll go ahead and say this publicly, I was pretty off on like 2-digit, triple-digit daily APRs. I was pretty off on that. But still, the yield that we're getting is very solid. And to know it's coming in every day, I'm kind of in chill mode. Everything's done. I'm just kind of decompressing after all the craziness that was happening up before the launch.
And do you believe, because I think that yield could actually go up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we talk a lot of, let's go over some important metrics.
Please, I'm excited.
The last thing that I saw was about 14,000 T shares were sent to the contract. So in 90 days, those 14,000 T shares will be up for liquidation. And that's a big reason why we saw the SA pool yield was so high, because a lot of those stakes were 5555s. So they got a 10% bonus, and that bonus was copied to the NFT pool. So that's a big reason why we saw the yield was so disproportionately high in that pool for the first day, which was great to see. But on day 90 or day 91, we get a bunch of Hedron burned, which means day 92, we get a bunch more ICOSA.
Okay, wait. So did you run the math on this? Because what Sloth just said, that there's 14,000 T-shares in HSIs that were sold to the ICOSA contract. Think about that for a second. 14,000 T-shares, they're going to be varying in price, right? Have you run the numbers on the amount of Hedron that are going to be burned? This is why I say, in my opinion, Hedron is far more bullish than HEX at this moment.
Yeah, I did a rough calculation, and just with 14,000 T-shares is about 77 billion Hedron base. So at minimum, if every single stake gets liquidated, then 77 billion Hedron will be burned. But as we know, that they're probably going to go for a lot higher.
Wait. So tell us, what is that base? The base is just paying back the advance.
Exactly. It's just the debt.
Which please, if you have numbers on this, the advance is equivalent to 1 to 3% or 1 to 5% of the HSI value.
Wait, say that one more time.
The advance in Hedron, so the dollar amount in Hedron that you're able to pull from advance is equivalent to, say, 3% of the total value of the HSI underlying HEX.
It's probably right around there. I haven't done the exact calculation, but that wouldn't surprise me. It's pretty low still.
So think about this. What did you say? 77 billion or 78 billion?
Yeah.
So
77 billion.
77 billion. If you take,
so it's times 30. It's like a 30x basically. So multiply that by 30. So that's what 700 billion times 3. It's over $1 trillion. It's over $1 trillion Hedron being burned in one day.
So 30, right? This is why I'm so excited.
That's 2.6.
2.6.
Yeah, 2.6. Yeah, so way over $1 trillion. And so if you think about it, so if they go for their fair value in dollar terms, and we get 2.4 trillion or 2.1 trillion, 2.4 trillion Hedron burned, the first year was seeded with 3.47 trillion liquidity. So we're getting 2/3 of the entire seeded liquidity for the ICOSA pool in one day. Or if these auctions all go in one day, it may take some time because there are so many of them. It may take weeks for them to all play out because there's just so many of them to go through. But that's another huge amount of yield that's going to be distributed to ICOSA stakers. And then everybody who's holding Hedron and staking it, your bags are getting pumped by the burn as well.
And is like what you just mentioned, because this is kind of like a flywheel. This is a fan-freaking-tastic idea. If you're bullish on T-shirts and you want to pick some cheap T-shirts,
if you're bullish on T-shirts, how could you not be?
But think about this: there's going to be a boatload of them coming up for liquidation, and a lot of people are not going to necessarily be paying attention. You could pick those up for cheaper than 2.6.
Dude, you can pick those up for who knows. I think that's a hard number to really predict because some people really get lost within the HSI thing and all of that. Like there's some of that value I think people think's not there, but some people just know directly. Like if I just buy these very cheap premium, I'm going to be scooping and scoring. You know what I mean? That because those are layups right now because there's not that much understanding people were worried about Hedron a lot in the beginning about understanding, and I get that. I get
Now,
but at the same time, it's like it's been
now, and this is a thought I'm just having right now, so I'll work it out on stream with you guys before I have to go. But imagine you get an HSI that's from burning Hedron through the liquidation auction that's cheaper than the dollar value that it takes to make that stake now. And the ICOSA intrinsic value point is equivalent to HEX. Well, then you can buy that stake up cheap, and then you can immediately liquidate it into HEX again if you really wanted to. So now you take a 15-year position that it would take like 15 years to be able to capitalize on, or it's extremely illiquid to sell on the NFT market, and you can immediately cash it into a liquid profit, which then guess does what? Puts that HSI back on the liquidation market to burn Hedron again.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to touch. You gotta go through those.
I just thought of that right now. Now.
So that's beautiful. I love this. This is what I love. I'm like more excited about this than other stuff. Okay.
We finally got Sam on board. We went from I don't know about this, like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever.
It took ICOSA to launch, guys, but we did it. We got Sam on board. He didn't like the speculative value, but Alex was in the back cooking. Yeah. He was waiting for those big brains. He's like, he thought about all this beforehand just for insight. He said he had these ideas laid out.
So this is Alex did an amazing job. What Slother said is fascinating. So to break it down on paraphrase, please, like if I miss up, point it out.
Just hop off when you have to, man.
I got 5 minutes.
Okay, and then potentially.
And then quick Watsa at the end. Quick Watsa. Okay,
and also potentially I'm trying to con or blackmail or whatever I need to do to get Sloth to come on and just chat again for a longer period of time.
I'm gonna look at my calendar. I'm gonna look at my calendar after this at some point today during lunch, and I'll get back to you with the date. Don't worry.
And we'll pump it too. Like if you hit up bullish and say a legit time where you got 45, like we'll pump it and get it going.
Okay, so what Sloth just said is a beautiful little insight. Now, in 90 days, we have 14,000 T-shares that are going up for auction, which means that the total number of HSIs that are going up for auction is probably far in excess of 14,000, because you have a lot of people who did T-shares that were fractional, right? So that could be 28,000 HSIs that are actually going up, right? But it could be less, though. It could be less because some, whales.
A lot of people with little bags, lots of them.
I think the last number I saw was 2,300. That's the last number I saw.
Okay, so 2,300 that are going to come up for liquidation. Now, what he just mentioned is if there's a lot of confusion, a lot of issues happening at that point where people are not necessarily paying attention, you may be able to pick up a $1,000 HSI for $800. So what does that mean? If ICOSA maintains its intrinsic value, remember we were talking about there's a floor underneath it and there's a ceiling over it. So it's just going to track this certain value in this range 90% of the time. So you could take your $800, $1,000 HEX stake, meaning you paid $800 for a $1,000 valuable thing. You could take your $1,000 valuable thing, you could put that back into ICOSA to print more ICOSA that will get you $1,000. So you can effectively it's almost like an ARB, if you can think about it that way. You buy something for $800, you put it into the ICOSA contract, and you get ICOSA you can sell for $1,000, and you just make $200 profit. Like that's a beautiful thing. That's amazing.
And you didn't negatively impact the system. I mean, depending on the amount and what number someone's looking at, it's all counter beneficial until you go out, I guess, until you completely sell out of a position. But what do we know about hexagons? They don't sell out of jackass positions. You know what I mean? Like they don't sell. They don't sell much. And if what they sell, they need whatever else they don't sell. They want money printer go. So, and they know it. There's too much info now. There's too much printers. They're held up by way stronger than the dollar. We're getting excited about a lot of this stuff because now we have a T-share, which everyone knows is going to go up. But in reality, all we have is the dollar, which everyone knows is going to zero. So we're finally figuring out how to do something that actually can hold itself and support itself with a real ecosystem, like with derivative products that can counter, just like in regular. I'm sure that's how it works in Legacy.
I don't know if you guys saw my tweet. I think today I was like just tweeting a bunch because I was having a bunch of thoughts. But like, and I've had this before, but I like tweeted it today, and it's like ICOSA might be like the first like successful algorithmic stablecoin, or like one of the first algorithmic stablecoins. Like a stablecoin doesn't necessarily.
I would literally just say this, please.
Yeah, a stablecoin doesn't need to be pegged to like a fiat fiat unit of account, right? Like it's just stable over something. And so now we've already seen it, it's only been a day. So like, that's not a long history, but we've seen it quickly reach its stable value, plus or minus like within like a small range.
You could calculate
it
is what you're saying. This was calculatable, guys.
Calculatable
in
the market.
Calculatable. That means stable to these guys were putting it fucking within 10%. A lot of these guys were.
Now think about it this way, if we have an algorithmic stable coin that's successful, and the main reason why it can be successful is because it isn't pegged to something like the dollar, where the entire value prop goes away if it ever depegs. With this algorithmic stablecoin, depegging is opportunity in both directions without a catastrophic failure, because there's not like this hard it's not trying to peg this hard thing. It's pegging a moving target. So there's flexibility there. Now, that's an interesting dynamic to think about in regards to profit taking, because you want to always take profits into speculative assets into a stable asset that is going to maintain value over time. Now, while the stability of ICOSA is relative to a speculative asset, because it's stable relative to the ecosystem by which it operates in, it actually could be a decent place to take profits into over time, rather than like USDC, PAX, any other kind of fiat stablecoin. This could be a cool thing to store your value and then to go out and speculate and bring it back in. And especially because there's a staking mechanism for it. So now you can like natively stake a stable coin to earn yield to take your profits from other things that you've succeeded in, like in the Pulse Chain ecosystem, for example.
This is what I
Hey,
said.
if you're in here, guys, retweet this tweet for me. Retweet it, and we'll get back to it. We got to talk about Watsa, though.
I'm gonna leave you guys. I gotta get some work done, guys. But I appreciate it. I had a great time.
Appreciate
we'll talk soon. Okay.
Hey, we'll talk soon. Hopefully tonight.
That is literally what I've been saying on the other stream the other day. This stream today, I've been saying
this morning. You were saying it
for weeks. Like we're not going to be using. I don't think we're going to be using like the DAI, USDC, Tether, PAX.
Dude, is it better to have ICOSA than USDC?
Think about it. Would you rather have somebody that has control over everybody, or would you not?
Is it more value and less negative externalities to have ICOSA rather than USDC? 1 for 1, basically. I mean, you could say whatever it is, 1.8 for 1. I'm more bullish on ICOSA, so I think the price is going to go up short term. Maybe not a lot, but I do think it's going to go up 3 to even 5 to 10x as a floor. I see people figuring this out, and I see people really valuing that ICOSA in an interesting way on a decentralized platform. I don't even have my shit on MetaMask, and I like it that way. Fuck MetaMask. I don't give a fuck what numbers pop up on my MetaMask. That shit's where to go. I don't give a shit. I hate MetaMask.
This is exactly what I was thinking about, how to structure.
How does this play out, Sam? In a perfect world, if like with your little rule set you can make real quick, how could this potentially play out? Obviously, roadblocks galore everywhere. We know that's how life works. But just so you can connect with the audience a little bit, how could you see this playing out? For me, it's kind of just like I could see ICOSA having a better proposition than USDC. That's how it feels in my mind. But what are you saying as a play out, moves that could be made, things that people could think about?
So we know, just based upon look at anybody who's listening or watching or you, Juicy, look at your behavior in life. What do people do? There's a saying, I think it was by Lincoln, that said something along the lines of, if you give me a week to cut down a tree, I will take a week to cut down a tree. If you give me an hour to cut down a tree, I will cut down a tree in an hour, or something thereabouts. When you look at what's happening and you take that little insight and you place it on this macro thing that's happening in right now with us in the Hedron, ICOSA, HEX play here. Hedron is going to become very, very, very scarce in about 90 days. Like, because what I just said, there's 90 days here to accumulate Hedron. What are people going to do? They're going to wait until it's a week beforehand, 2 weeks beforehand, before they really start to accumulate Hedron. And then there's going to be potentially around somewhere between 15 to 30x burn on what was actually pulled out of the system through the advance, right? Because you sell these HSIs to ICOSA, and then they mint this Hedron, right? So this Hedron that they mint is about 3% of the total value that was put into the system. So if you have, what is it? Say, I don't know the actual dollar amount, but say if it was 1,000 bucks, and there's 2,600 of these, according to Sloth. That's $2.6 million worth. 3% of that is $78,000, right? So 78,000, and these are just obviously completely wrong numbers, just running table napkin math here. 78,000 Hedron is pulled as an advance. Now, in 90 days, there's going to be a lot more Hedron that's needed to purchase these stakes, these HEX stakes. So what is that going to do?
A lot of us have seen this and watched it because we were buying 7-0 Hedron. We were like, oh, this is oversold a little bit. There's going to be higher value prop at some point. And the same thing will happen over and over until people figure out what's going on here, because nobody knows what's going on here. It took Sam. I want you guys to know that Sam is a fucking computer, and he can figure out things way faster than you can, no matter what. And it took him a little bit of time, a few weeks of passive learning to figure this out. And in my experience with Sam, that's a long time, if I'm being quite honest. Like it took him 3 weeks. It probably took me 3 months, and I'm just getting there, and I still have little bitty questions here and there. But just understand, these are concepts that you have to dive into with an open mind and learn. And that's why all these guys, the David G's of the world, the dude I just smoked on Twitter Spaces, like, it's just, this is the stuff that really matters. Like, we have to talk through this stuff in real detail. All the fluff, all the word salad, I want it eliminated. I want it gone. And I'm going to come for everyone's throat that is a big word salad motherfucker, because I'm sick of it. I want people to get into the details here, Sam. We're talking about people. Everyone says they want everyone else to be rich, but nobody does anything but protect their bags and tell everyone else to stake and do long-term stuff and basically pump their bags in a roundabout way. So I think thank you so much. And I just, what's your opinion? You know, the public sentiment, you know, people, you've been around the block. This is a hard concept to get in. And I know you're getting like a schoolgirl because you know how early we are. So it's making you intuitively excited. How hard is it to figure this stuff out? How far from the adoption curve do you really think we are? And just in your opinion, when it comes to like some of this public sentiment and like how hard it is to understand this stuff?
Oh, I took out a piece of paper the other day at dinner, trying to kind of bring my girlfriend up to speed on it. And as I'm doing that, you realize that like you got to have a foundational level of crypto, slight understanding. Then you have to have some understanding of HEX, right? And what that is and why that's valuable, why that's important, why it's secure. Then once you understand crypto and once you understand a little bit of HEX, then you have to understand Hedron and how Hedron interplays with HEX. But also Hedron is far more complex than HEX is. So then you have to take extra time to understand NFTs and then understand the advance, why the advance is not actually working until ICOSA comes out. So now you have layers here. You have to understand crypto. Then you've got to understand HEX. Then you've got to understand Hedron. Then you have to understand ICOSA. Like, bro, nobody's fucking understanding this shit.
Nobody even understands Uniswap. Nobody understands Uniswap. And that was really the big breaker for me when I started realizing, like, okay, I knew we were early. I knew I had some insight that I should be here and paying attention, but I didn't know we were this early. I didn't know it. Talk about the zeros. I love talking about the zeros because nobody believes me on this shit. And everyone has an opinion, and I think all of them are wrong except for like a couple of the guys that know. But the more zeros there are in front, listen to me. And this is true. And I don't care what anyone says in this whole entire world. The more zeros that are in front of a number, the more price action will occur into the upside and the downside. So understand that. It has nothing to do with the liquidity. It has nothing to do with the amount of units that are on sale. There's like 6 guys that learn that information, and they use it accordingly. Everyone else buys the Dogecoin.
So
I'm saying
my
that
understanding,
more zeros gives people a belief. It creates an emotional response. It has nothing to do with the calculator. So it's an emotional thing. When Sam is on his last dollar and he's 23 years old and someone says, dude, there's 8 zeros in front of this, you got $300. It's called a moon bag for a reason. And that is part of adoption, whether people like it or not. A lot of the people that will buy these things will not buy them for the same reasons me and Sam are buying these things. So putting those zeros in front of it gives it more room to grow because it's a mental barrier. What if ICOSA was $7,000 to start? To be honest, it would be weird. It would be odd. I wouldn't really know what to do. 1/100th of a ICOSA wouldn't sound like a moon bag to me.
But this is where I think a market on ICOSA, I think the market's missing the point here. I think people are getting excited about ICOSA, but when we talk about price, right? We're not talking about price, but like, what do we want? We want fucking shit to go up, right? And people are looking at ICOSA, and that's where the opportunity is, because they're looking at ICOSA. ICOSA is fucking pegged. That shit's gonna go like this, right? And it's pegged to something. Where is the opportunity here for you to increase your bags? And please clip this in 90 days if you're watching this. If I'm wrong, but I highly doubt I'm wrong, I bet we wouldn't be surprised with a 10x on HDRN price from today's levels.
No, I agree. I couldn't agree more. I think the misconceptions between the supply, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a part of what I'm saying too. Like just because there's misconceptions on that side, there's also misconceptions on the other side. People never play out the game that always occurs. I watched HEX go from 2 cents to 56 cents in 3 months. You don't remember? I remember. If maybe you remember, I was watching every day like a fucking nut. Okay, I was freaking out. And I watched that explosiveness. I realized it was real. The liquidity was good the whole entire time. You could have dumped whenever you wanted. And it clicked for me. I said, oh my God, holy shit, this is going to happen again. So, but I think it's important when it comes to the unit bias, and just to wrap that thought up, like HDRN is way scarce. Don't let the number zeros fool you. HEX is way scarce. Don't let the number zeros fool you. This shit is scarce. It was designed really well. The people thought about it beforehand. They liked the trickery. You think Alex wants everyone to know everything right away? No. All him and his buddies and guys like me and Sam, we're getting in there. We're going to get those positions, and we're going to protect this product and profit from it extremely.
So, well, I love the unit bias thing, and it makes it, because if I'm understanding what the essence of you're saying is that with the unit bias, right? People like to own the full thing, right? And if there's more zeros, there's the idea that
people like to own 100,000.
Correct.
Something.
Yes.
Not just 100,000.
Yeah, but on the other side, if ICOSA was $7,000, people don't want 10% of ICOSA. They want a full ICOSA, right?
I just wouldn't want any of it.
Okay, so when you when you look at this, you have 90 days from today. What happens in HEX price? But we'll just play this out hypothetically.
You're saying what, in my opinion, or like if everything's going cool?
Well, let's just play it out. What 3 scenarios? We could say HEX is the same price, HEX is higher, HEX is lower, right? That's the 3 scenarios that could happen, right? If HEX is the same, then we have about and if something that's actually worth $1,000 sells for about $1,000, these are the HSIs, right? So I believe that it will be close to that. Maybe there's a 10% discount out there, but I believe that the 14,000 T-shares are going to sell for close to what they're actually valued at. If you hold these beliefs and you understand that HEX could be the same price, in 90 days, HEX could be higher or HEX could be lower. What does that mean? If HEX is, say, let's just start here. If HEX is lower, then that means there's less HDRN that's burnt. Because now the T-shares are going to be worth less, that means you need to buy up less HDRN to be able to burn that, to get rid of that. Now, HDRN is a different price. So if HDRN, because you got to consider the HDRN price too. HDRN could be the same price, could be higher, or could be lower. So this is going to these are all going to play out over time. But people are not thinking about the HDRN piece of things. Right? They're thinking about HEX and they're thinking about ICOSA. If HEX, which
but that staking feature, we should highlight that staking feature too, because I want you to know my experience. I had a bag. I had a bag of HDRN and I wanted it staked ASAP, and I wanted to be earning ICOSA ASAP, because I was like, if that yield is popping, I want to be on that like ASAP. And so Sam, where did they put that HDRN staking function in here? And it seems like on the weekly, if everything was the same, we would have 13.9% on the HDRN pool, 167.1% on the yearly APY, and the on the daily, 0.46% on the daily.
I think he made a mistake if you look at the HDRN pool, the 13.9. I think he meant to say monthly there, not weekly. The
Correct. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay,
and this is preliminary based on day one, so this is subject to change.
Yeah. So guys, just remember, there's a lot of functions going on here, and they're all good for us. So like, there's less HDRN being sold. There's more HEX being staked for HSIs that are getting put into the ICOSA pool for the buy and burn. And then we have the WATSA thing. And that's the one thing that I have not even played with. I was going to try to get one in before 8 p.m. tonight. That was my goal, because all the smart heads in the chat were like bullish as fuck on that shit. So like Gaines Club was like, if you don't have a WATSA NFT moon bag, you're out of your mind.
So do you want to talk? You want to talk about WATSA real quick? But do you want to answer this question, or do you want to talk about this real quick?
Saw all sloss vids. Again, my concern is HDRN staking yield in the form of ICOSA is not all attractive unless ICOSA does 100x or 1000x. Okay, yes. Okay. First of all, AK, if you understand the system really intimately, these things are all tied together. So basically, if you trust that the T-share is going to go up in price and that people are going to buy more HEX and that we will see all-time highs again, stop worrying about your price predictions. It's going to be extremely explosive. Tight liquidity, AK. People always want to deal, AK. These guys are very smart that shark this money around. I'm telling you. Not all of them. Some of them are. And they pay attention to these opportunities where you can put 1% of your bag into something and change your life for fucking ever. And they have lots of money. So just remember, when it comes to the 100x, 1000x, all that stuff, very variable. We could have a nuclear war. And I could promise you 1000x would not happen in ICOSA. Okay? I promise. Like, there would be issues with that. But if everything works as you feel, if you're a Hexican, if you're someone who supports all this stuff, you should understand already that tight liquidity will shoot the price up harder than Hex at itself, because Hex has more weight. Hex, there's people that are staking more Hex than you will ever have today with a one-day stake. Then I don't know you personally, AK, but there is someone out there that did a one-day stake that made more, probably, unless you have a lot. So I'm just saying, it's the same way you buy Hex and think, oh my God, I'm going to be rich forever on this shit. There's dudes that would laugh.
You can think about,
you know what I mean, bro? Does that make sense at all? Like, I think it's important to like say like the perspective, like you have this faith in Hex and it should be carried over to ICOSA rather than felt separation. You know what I mean?
And I'll tie that together with what GRC is saying, because if you understand ICOSA, what is ICOSA? Remember, we said that there's a floor and there's a ceiling. So those things are tied to HEX. So if you like HEX and if you like to understand the intimate details of HEX and the T-share and how all that works, then you understand that if HEX goes up by a 10x here, then you're going to see that in some range, a 10x in ICOSA, because it's a derivative play on there. Think about this for a second. If a T-share is $1,000 today, and that same equivalent T-share goes up to $10,000, right? What does that mean for the ICOSA thing? Okay, so at $10,000, now you're going to mint out so much ICOSA, right? But then remember, there's a floor and a ceiling. So there's money to be made up above, and there's money to be made below. We can get into the semantics of that, but what that allows that to do is stay within that price range, because if it goes up here, somebody makes money. If it goes below here, somebody makes money, right? So it's this algorithmic, it's going to stay in here because there's opportunity for people to make money, right? And when that
make money with just 2 clicks, don't. It's not like making money by digging a 100-foot hole and then tunneling your way under Mexico. This is like you're doing 3 clicks on a platform that we've been telling you about for months. It's important to understand. The reason that these things have arbitrage value is because they are legitimately 4 clicks away. It's not like you could arb my house for like jelly beans in Africa, but that would be a lot of freaking, you know what I mean? You could, there's a value prop there, I'm sure, on some leverage or whatever, but that's a lot of work for GRC. But what's not a lot of work? Oh, look at the ICOSA pool. Oh, look at the HEX pool. Oh, click, click, click. Okay, I just made $850 because no one knows what they're doing. And that's part of being an early investor. There is some scummy shit that goes on because of the knowledge gap, but that's exactly why the show is here. I want to show the average person that you can be an early investor. Do not put, just because their name is Richard Hart, everyone has a game to win, and the same people will win the game over and over. It doesn't matter if it's RuneScape. It doesn't matter if it's fucking finance. It doesn't matter if it's anything. If that's their mission, the people that win always win. You know what I mean? So just understand that. Be a winner. Just learn this stuff and get in position now. Don't wish for the future to be different. Don't wish that your past was different. Put a little bit of money into something that's truly going to change your life, and then wait through the people that will not. That's all this is. 95% of the people will lose most of their bag, and they will forget about the next bear market, and 5% of people will capture the inflation value of the entire thing. That's how it happens every cycle.
I thought of a decent analogy to describe the three of these pieces, right? HEX, ICOSA, and HDRN. If you think of a whip, right, like a bullwhip, where you have it in your hand and you whoosh, right, and then at the hand piece might be moving 7-8 miles an hour as you do this, 15 miles an hour, however quickly you're doing this. As you go further and further along the whip, the tail, the very end of the whip, is moving so fast that it makes that snap, right? Well, you can think about the handle as being HEX. You move slightly up the whip, and you have ICOSA. But you go to the very end of the whip, and that is HDRN, where if I'm moving the handle here, and I'm moving 15 miles an hour, ICOSA is going to move 18 miles an hour, right? But then you go 16 feet out to the end of the whip, and that is where HDRN is going to be. If HEX has a 10x, then HDRN is going to have a 10x. Or I'm sorry, then ICOSA is going to have that 10x. But you're going to have a bigger impact on HDRN, because if anybody uses ICOSA at all whatsoever, the amount that needs to be burnt to keep up with that is a multiple that is higher than 10, right? Because it's at the end of the whip. That HDRN's moving fucking quick as fuck, right? So you need a boatload more HDRN to buy those back in the marketplace, which means that the HDRN price can be super, super different.
And remember that thing I said about the price action. People still feel very comfortable spending thousands of dollars on HDRN because those zeros do make you feel better. I don't care who you are. If you're putting a moon bag on something and you just got $1.5 million of it, you're feeling good. When I bought HEX for the first time, I want everyone to know this. This is important. I think I bought like 75,000 HEX or something for 2 pennies, and it wasn't a lot. But I was like, look at this. I have a good asset, and I have 75,000 of it. That's what I felt. That's what people feel. I was a noob at the time. That's just the reality. I had money. I spent money. I was willing to buy, so I bought HEX, and I was excited about it, and I had no idea that there was dudes doing one-day stakes, fucking not wrecking my bags, but just like totally having way more money than me. That's not really the impression I had. I didn't know about all that shit. I only knew that this guy Richard Hart's changing the world, man. I want to be on that boat. And then I learned from there, but I got my ass in the game. Like you can't win if you're not in the game. The people that last with money in their bags of crypto will be rich. And everything in this world will try to get that bag out of your bag. But you can be smart about it. You can be tactical about it. But I promise you, it's only going to be 5% of you. It's not going to be 100% of you in the chat. It's going to be 5% of you that really sit back and you say, I won this game because I waited and I was patient and I DCA'd and I did my emotional fitness and everything.
There was that. Beautifully put, dude. Like, you have to be in the game to go in. You have to be in the game. Even if you're like, I don't have the money to pay my bills, well, figure out how to cut your expenses and make more money. Period.
You can always cut your expenses.
So
there's always more delta there until you're in a position like me, because I broke it down all the way to about 800. I just switched to the YMCA from the big gym because it's walking distance and my car's not super duper reliable at this moment. At least I'm not super duper reliable.
And then it saves you $50 a month or $75 a month.
More than that, 130 plus gas, which was probably 35 a week. So, you're talking about $400 a month, roughly. If you're going, it's a far away gym, but it's like highway far away. So, and there's traffic all the time, and I also spend money there. I also get food there on occasion and get my hair cut there and shit. So it is important. I'm willing to sacrifice myself. If to some people it's sacrifice, to me, I could give a fucking rat shit, but I'm willing to, I don't eat much I don't have amazing food. I don't get to eat amazing food right now. And that's just me, you know, like that's where I'm at. I'm not willing to spend money on steaks. And I used to eat only organic food I used to go to the grocery store and spend $450 and literally hand make all my food. And I like that. I enjoyed that. I don't do that anymore because I'll do that later. I need to sacrifice myself. This is how men succeed. You got to take a stand at some point and you got to push and you can't be afraid to fail. I don't feel like I can fail because I just feel like failure is just part of, like, there's always failures.
Oh, 100%.
You just don't let a failure take you out of the game. David Goshenfuck is in there talking about selling NFTs. I go in there and spank his butt. He calls me a homo. He's got like 800,000 subs. I could give a shit rat's ass. That dude's a moron. I don't agree with his opinion. He sells NFTs to children and he makes it sound nice and jokes about it. That's a wasted life to me. And I'm never going to be afraid to say what I believe, blah, blah, blah. I've been really inspired over the last couple of days. I've been a little depressed too, but like, you know, just like inspired as far as work is concerned and realizing that it is okay for me to double down. It is okay for me to isolate myself. It is okay for me to work hard and just forget about it all for a little while because I know what it takes and I love it. I fucking love it. Thank you for teaching me all that shit too.
That's it. I am enjoying your journey from afar. Like, obviously I'm not you, but I am really enjoying your growth and I'm excited to see where and how much you build over the next year and having, like, you know, the passenger seat, so to speak, as I watch you grow and learn is cool. Like I get excited about other people making progress in life. So when you're making progress, it inspires me to push harder in my own life to just be better and that kind of thing. I love it when I see people growing and making progress towards the things that they want in their life to achieve and making those courageous decisions to do things that they don't necessarily feel that they want to do. Like going from the amazing, awesome gym, right, to the one that is not as great, right?
No hot girls there. No people, no girls, no nothing. It's just the weights, baby.
And we're in the trenches. And as time goes on, you notice that you start to build and you build bigger and you build bigger. And I've been doing this for a while now, and I'm starting to slightly see some of the yields on some of the work that I've been putting in. But you're in the trenches for a long time, like it, you know, just long time.
You're in the trenches until you're in the trenches until you decide that the trenches are a great place to be. Like the trenches are where it's all about. Richard's in the trenches. Richard's never left the trenches. I don't care what anyone says. He's kept his ass to work, boy. Innovating, changing. Yeah, maybe he goes out and like the trenches look different. You know what I mean? It's the mental trenches is what it is. I'm putting myself here. You don't think that I could just work out and chill and get a gig that was easy and just manipulate it and work from home from a government job? You don't think I could do that? You don't think? It's not hard. All you got to do is send your paperwork in. And then they'll hire you. You need one fucking referral. And then I'm sitting at my house and milking some fucking system. No, I just don't want it. That's not what I want. And I understand people that do that because it's an opportunity risk thing. But I just said, you know what? I want to punch hard or not punch at all because I was put in a great position. I feel like as a young man, I had a lot of things going for me and I want to take advantage of it or I won't feel proud of myself, truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
I want to feel proud of myself.
It's like going back to the trenches analogy, and then I wanted to compare ICOSA to Maxi. But when you look at the trenches, like we're all live life in the trenches, so to speak, because it's life, right? But there's the clouds, right? And there's the dreams and the vision and all the beautiful things that we aspire for in our life with our relationships and how financially speaking and our health and both that's physical and mental health, right? All of these pieces to go together, and that relationships is not just intimate, but it's with friends and it's with family, etc. And as we are in the trenches day to day, I find it valuable to take moments every now and then and spend time in the clouds, in the dreaming, right? In the vision for your life, because that's what's going to get you excited right? And you spend just a moment per day. Like I like to write down my vision, my goals every day, right? It's hard to see, but this is a page of fucking sloppy writing, right? It's actually 2 pages of sloppy writing. I'm writing down my vision for my life and my goals for my life. So I'm taking the moment and I'm envisioning what's going on, and then I'm back at the grind throughout the day, and time in and time out, time in and time out.
I
Day
imagine myself every single day replacing Joe Rogan when he retires. I swear to God. And I'm not talking about his podcast. I'm talking about his UFC gig. I found this weird phenomenon, which I can't really control, but the things that come into my head, and I'm not talking about the Joe, just so far in my life as it's gone, when these ideas come into my head and they come over and over and over again, and I can't even control them, they always come true. I can't control it. It's like I can't control it. Everyone's like, you quit your job. I was like, I had no choice. I couldn't control it. Like it just almost feels like I don't have control, but I have all the control in the world at the same time, because something's giving me the energy to want to do this. And then I see a world around me where no one has energy. And I say, maybe this is right. Maybe this is just how it goes. Maybe this is what I was meant to do. And I want to, and I've always been thinking about starting that UFC channel. And I was like, man, this is a weird, like I was thinking about taking that Joe Rogan job before I ever even had a computer. I was like, that's the job I want. Like, I want to be courtside watching that shit getting paid. Like, that's what I want. Like,
you should try one of those channels.
I know. And then I was thinking, like, all I would have to do is just like with this community, if I had a separate one, was just get in with the smaller channels and then be awesome. And then slowly but surely, you're talking to those guys. Slowly but surely, like, this is the youngest guy in the group, and he's the only one willing to do this shit anymore. And he's been here for years. And I know how it works. It's just time in the market. It's never timing. Like, you know what I mean? It's like the more you're in the market, people trust me in crypto. Why? I don't fucking know, because I'm here every single day and I study every single day, and they know it. I don't need a degree. I don't need anything. I just need people to trust me, and I'm just going to be trustworthy in the world where no one is that anymore. Everyone lies about where they're at, what they drive, and how much money they got. And I just don't care, frankly, that much.
Yes. And well, they also trust you because you're being authentic and honest.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't care to lie. I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
Like, I'm like, what? Guys, I have $1 million. Oh, yes, my life is filled with so much joy now. Everyone knows. Like, what? That would suck. I want to experience my life with the people that are watching so that they can enjoy it.
Yes. And it's a fun journey. I'm looking forward to little moments and working towards appreciating every little bit as you go on the journey, because you've heard the cliche. It's not the goal, it's the path, it's the journey, it's a process you have to enjoy. And understanding that at a nuanced level, like really, what do you need to do in your life mentally? Because it's just going to be a different story. It's going to be a different frame. It's going to be a different way that you describe your life to yourself to enjoy the journey. You need to enjoy the journey, because when you get to the goal, and you're like, it's $1 million, I can't buy $1 million bills, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Trust me, you need to enjoy the process, and you need to change if you want to enjoy the process. If you're not enjoying it now, you want to say hi to Bob, and then I want to make a point on Maxi and ICOSA.
Bob Lagai, $55 super chat, 5555. The magic numbers. If Fresh and Fit gets 55, then you deserve one too. Thank you so much, Bob Lagai, for everything you do. I truthfully appreciate it. And you're an inspiration, dude. You really are. You're open-minded. You have kids. You're not fucking bogged down by bullshit. You just take your life and you give everyone the best of yourself. And I appreciate that. It's amazing. Thank you so much, Bob.
I would like to point out one detail that I was thinking about as we were thinking about HEX and ICOSA. You understand Maxi, and you understand that Maxi has to move with HEX, right?
This is a great topic.
So what if you guys understand what I just said, Maxi has to move with the price of HEX. Then, if you understand that, and if not, then there's opportunity to make money. I hope if Maxi trades 1-for-1, there's a fucking shitload of opportunity right there. So
remember, people forget these things too. When new launches come out, there's a premium there because people forget to learn. Go ahead. I love where this is going.
ICOSA is similar to Maxi in that it has to track the price of HEX to a certain degree. Because of the T-share, it's all related. But HDRN is different, is a little bit different. It has more pumps in there because it's not tracking to the T-share. It's not tracking with HEX perfectly. It's a little bit different because it's priced in HDRN instead of priced in HEX or priced in the T-share, right, with Maxi and ICOSA. HDRN, the things that are priced in HEX are actually, you have to pay for in HDRN. So there's more pump there. There's more possibility. There's more X's on HDRN there because of that. Because if you understand that Maxi is going to trade at relatively fair value because it is just HEX, right? And if you understand that there's the floor and the ceiling above ICOSA, then you can understand that HDRN is a little bit different because of the way that the deal is structured. These fascinating details, most people are not going to understand until.
Well, the real detail there is during the mint phase. So you would want to look back at the mint phase, guys. What did you have to do to get your Maxi, and what did you have to do to get your ICOSA? That is going to be the direct relation between the asset.
Good point.
So it was easier to get Maxi than it was to get ICOSA, if you want me to be honest. Like you just had to 1-for-1 HEX and it just went up. But that also means that there's less positive price pressure as well. It's a stickier product to HEX is what I mean, I think personally.
You know, you're beautiful. You're 100% correct.
Yeah,
you're
so
absolutely correct.
It's way stickier. It's more of a derivative play. It's more of a direct derivative play.
So
rather than ICOSA, the mint phase, what did I have to do? I had to buy my HEX. I had to go to HDRN.pro. I had to create an HSI. I had to go to the app.pro.icosa. Then I had, so that's 4 more pressures. That's more opportunity is what it's more opportunity for more. It's more shark money, more smart money. More smart money is going to come that way. But Maxi's directly related to an explosive product. So it's a
Maxi goes, that was a beautiful point, bro. Maxi's going to be tied at the hip with HEX. ICOSA is going to be tied at the hip with a leash, right? So ICOSA, Maxi goes like this with HEX. Boom, 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 boom. Wherever it goes, right? But ICOSA is going to be here, but it's going to be on a leash. So as it goes, it's going to track along with it, but it's going to go on a leash. Like awesome point.
And it's funny because that leash, you can literally click rate the whole thing. So every click that it takes to get to that mint phase is going to be more opportunity for people in a good product because it's harder to get to. Maxi was easy to get to. Maxi, more people got to. Now they're doing these other derivative products, so that's a different story. But for now, Maxi was basically a play. I'm not going to lie. Maxi had a lot of guys sell because I kind of just confident. If you want me to be honest, I sold my Maxi because I'm confident enough that if HEX dumps, I know where Maxi's going. Like, but I'm not going to say the same thing about ICOSA. I'm not going to say that if HEX takes a 50% dump that ICOSA won't hit all-time highs. I'm not going to say that because I just don't agree with that because it's so early and it's not tied directly, but it's tied. It almost takes the positive pressure from HEX, but has its own like low liquidity pressure, and HDRN has a little bit of that too.
And it can move out of those ranges.
I think HDRN's a more intimate system, and I think it's more I just think it's more detailed and was thought about more. And I'm not saying Maxi does what it does, baby. Like,
if this is probably about time to tie things up.
Once you're done, Bullish is going to transition something on. I'm going to transition him on for a sec.
I want to ask you one last question here because I think that I've seen a couple of comments go through here. HEX, HDRN, ICOSA. You have $200 a month or $300 a month. How would you incorporate that $200 to $300 a month in a DCA?
One more time.
HEX, HDRN, ICOSA. You have a $300 portion of a DCA per month.
For me,
put into one of those.
I have HEX stakes that I'm comfortable with and a ladder that I'm comfortable with. So that takes if I didn't, I would be way focused on that before the fork because in my opinion, that's just the safest move. Like safest, like for big gains, like that's just like protecting myself. But as far as the money I'm spending right now, it's all USDC and speculative plays for me. So like So what I have been doing with $300, and that's probably around the amount I would do like daily if I was DCAing at the time, is I would be dumping HSIs probably and trying to get my ICOSA bag to a certain level. But I already have a Hedron bag too. So my moon bag, for people that are in here that are new, maybe a couple $1,000s only, get yourself a billion Hedron. Do yourself a favor, get a billion Hedron and never sell it. It's a fair amount of value, and it's a fair portion of the pie, in my opinion, where you'll see explosive gains. Enough explosive gains where it'll change your life. So I think a billion is a good point for people that just want reference. It's about $1,200 at the moment. And that's a good number, I think, if you're a smaller player. So yeah, but really I would just be trying to get ICOSA bag and my Hedron bag fluffed up right now. That's what I've been doing.
Interesting. Thank you.
Nothing crazy though. I'll never
No.
overextend, guys. You'll never see me, and you'll see me in 10 years saying I'll never overextend, and I'll have a lot more money. And because it's just a way of being for me. It's worked for me. Everyone has different strategies. Everyone knows different stuff for where I'm at. And I'll let you know if I start fucking LPing and sharking everyone. I will. I'll start doing that when I am ready, because there's no rush in this game. The only rush is to not leave. Don't leave. Don't lose your shit. Don't lose your bags. Don't sell your shit. Just go. You can go broke in person before you sell your shit. Don't sell your shit. Being broken person's easy. They give you everything for free.
Let's tell some.
Yeah, Bullish. Let's get special guest Bullish on because he's the good.
Yeah, I just wanted to come on real quick because I noticed you had something pulled up in the back. You want to pull that up?
Oh yeah, I pulled this up. This was a picture, guys, this morning. Not only does GRC, Jimrat Crypto, inform you in the crypto space, but you might get some good workout tips as well. DM me if you want to purchase this sketch acrylic on paper A4 for USDC, $100 shipping. That's a beauty.
Well, hit the refresh. Refresh that tweet.
Refresh the whole page.
And then scroll down. Look for mine. I made a comment.
Oh, hold on.
No.
I'm such a fucking pleb.
Yeah. Clearly, this is GRC running it, not me.
Scroll up.
Yeah.
So click
on it. There you go.
My bad. Can't DM you. I'll buy it so I can gift it to him. Bullet.
Yeah. So I already purchased it, confirmed, and I commissioned him to do one of Sam as well. So that's gonna be done tonight. So you and Sam have one on. So you and Sam have one on the way for me.
Bro, you're awesome,
guys,
dude.
real quick, just know that was a picture of me. Know that picture of me with my hair pinned back. That was like my first like couple streams. You know, like he took the picture from like the way beginning because I never had long hair before I quit my job because I just stopped getting haircuts. So that picture was day one GRC, man. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait to get thank you so much, Bullish. That was really nice.
Yeah, so yours is getting shipped out tonight, and then Sam's is probably tomorrow.
You're awesome, dude. I appreciate that.
No, thank you guys. You know, once again for like welcoming me, you know, trusting me, and I've gained a lot, you know, from streaming with you guys. You know, growth and all sorts of stuff. So you know, it's just a little thank you from me to you.
I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate all the help you do.
Martin Axel in the chat.
Yep, there he goes. That's the artist right there.
Hey, props to Martin Axel. Thank you so much for creating that. It's beautiful. You did a great job. I would have hate to pull that up and it looked like poo-poo.
And also, if you guys want to do a creative gift, I don't know Matt Martin at all or anything, but artists who do like hand drawings, paintings, etc., do commissions, which is like, hey, can you do this picture and draw this of my friend, my spouse, my girlfriend, etc. The case, and I bet if you reach out to Martin, he would be happy to help you out in that process. So that's dope. Thank you.
What a great show, guys.
Martin is a Hexican and he's done a lot. So if you go to his Twitter, he's done on a lot of portraits, a lot of people. So yeah, go check him out.
If there's anything going on in the crypto space today, guys, can you be lurking for Richard Hart shit so I don't have to do it? I'll cover it. I'll cover all of it. let me know down below. I was smart enough not to stream that late show last night, and I didn't even watch it because I don't need to watch any of that shit. But I'm sure it was fun. And Richard Hart dropped so much alpha yesterday, and he has 150,000 views on the video so far. They have 1 million subs over there, and he broke it down. They let him talk. They let him break it down. He said, "I'm an expert. Let me go," and he went, and it was incredible, man. He really showed some people some truths about the banking system, some truths about HEX, and he was not pumping his bags. He was telling people the truth, and it was incredible. I don't think he ever mentioned buying HEX or anything. He was just basically like, listen, guys, I've been doing this for a long fucking time. The number go up so fast, you cannot make a business that will outpace it. He told everyone, he said, if you're building a business right now, the money you're putting in will get outpaced by everyone that puts that same amount of money into crypto. And he said it straight up. And he said that's the same thing that's wrong with the world, but it's going to be the same thing that changes the world. And we're moving in that direction, guys. HEX is reaching its early stage of virality, where he's starting to get onto the circuit with the guys that are basically just clout people. Like all they do for a living is just like chill and like cloud it up.
Yes. If ICOSA is a stablecoin, what is it worth? Well, the bare bones bottom is worth whatever the amount that is advanced on the HSIs, right? So if you think about what ICOSA is, they get HSIs, they take an advance against those HSIs, and then they pay that to their pools. So what is ICOSA worth? At its bare bones minimum lowest floor price, it's worth whatever is stored in the bag, right? Like there's $100 in this jar. How much is this jar worth? And bare bones, it's got $100. You can verify, you can check, you can see that it's fucking real, right? Then that's what it's worth. Right? Whatever that bare bones minimum is. If you look at the ICOSA contract, I think you get to see that. I don't know exactly fully how to do that yet, but somebody was showing me that yesterday. This show has been awesome.
Yeah, we'll come back tomorrow with whatever is hot. Like there's a lot. I'm not gonna fuck with you guys. There's a lot of really important, really alpha news. There was a few weeks there where it really didn't matter if you were watching the show. We were just having a good time. But it is not in that mode now. And I can't predict these things, but it's happening now. Something's happening now because detail is getting put in front of people and they're missing it. And that's what I notice. That's what I'm good at noticing. Look at all this amazing stuff. Nobody's paying attention. Okay, but I still think Richard Hart is telling us all there is more pain to come in very, very specific detail. He knows every account that is ready to dump all their Mt. Gox coins, everything. He's waiting. He's paying attention. Please defer to him when you think it's forever bull market. He's not going to say HEX is going to go down. It's not in his best interest to say that, but he will tell you the entire market's going down 50% from here. Why don't you read between the lines and listen to him a little bit? Protect yourself, guys. It's Crypto in the Morning. Sam, great to see you. I'll probably do another show today, probably 100%. There's way too much going on, way too many heavy hitters in my DMs. We're going to get it going. Sorry for everyone in that Twitter space. I freaked out and I cursed at the guy, but I didn't mean to. And guys, everyone have an amazing flipping day.
Young folks, you tripping on them motherfuckers. Richard Hart. Richard Hart.
Bought my HEX from the fucking start. 0.1 every day we mark. Bought my HEX from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my HEX from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the HEX, he is mooning. Looking at wives they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pro chains out, now get me a check. He's gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. HEX had me eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Buy my HEX from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hurt. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Buy my HEX from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hurt. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart.